I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. So lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you. I know.
Goeienaand. Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and a special shout out to the Loving Life family. Well, over 2 years ago, I put together a video that reflected the situation in white squatter camps. The situation has become very much more dire since then. Let me show you that video. Here we go. I might recall this song, some of my older subscribers.
We have a young English writer too, a fella called Ralph McTell, who wrote a lot of very good songs, but one of them is quite an incredible song, which I enjoy very much. Have you seen the old man in the closed down market, kicking up the papers with his worn out shoes? In his eyes you see no pride, and held loosely by his side yesterday's papers, telling yesterday's news. Oh, how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun doesn't shine? Oh, let me take you by the hand, I'll lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. Have you seen the old girl who walks the streets of London? Dirt in her hair and her clothes in rags. She's no time for talking, she keeps right on walking, carrying her home in 2 carrier bags. Oh, how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun doesn't shine? Oh, let me take you by the hand, I'll lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. In the all-night cafe at 11:15, same old man sitting there on his own, looking at the world over the rim of his teacup. Each tea lasts an hour, then he wanders home alone. Oh, how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun doesn't shine? Oh, let me take you by the hand, I'll lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. Now have you seen the old man outside the seaman's mission. Memory fading with the metal ribbons that he wears. In our winter city, why the rain cries little pity for one more forgotten hero and a world that doesn't care. Oh, how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun doesn't shine? Oh, let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. I'll show you something to make you change your mind.
Isn't that a beautiful song? It always brings
tears to my eyes, that song. Right. Tonight we have the founder of Vroue Krag South Africa, Leonie Boysen and Jurgens Christie joining us. My guests will be stripping back the smoke and mirrors and revealing the true tragedy unfolding in South Africa, while the fake news, the mainstream media, look the other way. Please remember to subscribe to Loving Life on YouTube and register on our new platform, lovinglifetv.com. You can see it right here below me. And also on our forum on lovinglifetv.com, which is growing really well, and Nat's doing a great job on that. And please put your questions to our guests in the side chat. Okay, here we go. I'm going to get our guests on. First, and hopefully Leonie will join us in a second. Here we go. Hi, Jurgens.
How are you? Scott, you can call me Dave.
Oh, okay, Dave. Okay, will do. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to cancel Leonie's call because she's got to join our group here. I'll just call her through now. Give me a second.
No.
Okay, here we go. Add, and call, add. There we go. All right, so I see you got the fear clear behind you.
Yes, yeah, of course. My pride and joy.
Absolutely. I have a much older South African, a much younger South African flag sitting on my wall here, but I can't show it for certain reasons.
Look at my shirt.
Oh, wow. I love it. We've been following Petrus on his walk from East London to Pretoria.
No, yeah, well, I follow him. Look, he's doing a sterling job. The only thing that we do is we actually propagate. Last year we started with the BLM movements taking shape. We started Boycott SA Sport. We started a couple of boycott things,
right,
to actually counter that of racism. You understand?
Yeah.
And we've been quite successful. I mean, Cricket South Africa these days is a no-go. I mean, these guys, the government's on the point to take over Cricket South Africa. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hi, Leonie.
Yep.
How are you, Scotty?
I guess you guys know each other, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah, very well.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes.
We're
No.
partners in crime, Scott. We're partners in crime.
Well, I think you guys do some fantastic work as well. And one of the areas that you both work in is to do with the white squatter camps, which are appearing all over the country. And you would think that they don't exist if you just watch the mainstream media, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yes, I agree.
And you,
No, 100%. But if I may just add this and say that it's not a question that they're appearing all over South Africa. They're already there.
yeah,
They have been there for past 8-9 years. It's just they becoming bigger, and there is more and more of it.
yeah,
So if I would say that smaller towns, there's not a town or a city in South Africa that do not have these camps.
wow. Yeah, you know, when I went to South Africa in 2007, I never saw any of them. But then I guess it was sort of out the way. But I think since then it's just grown exponentially.
But
You in the country went 2007.
Yeah.
Oh, so, yeah, you should come back now. South Africa is a squatter camp.
Oh no. And
it's
what,
a slump now. It's not it's a slump now. It's not a squatter camp anymore.
yeah, that's what I thought. Now, okay. When we look at these squatter camps, statistics don't lie. Can you tell us about the statistics and the census and how that has shown what is actually happening in South Africa?
Yes. Let me put it to you this way. Censuses have not been done. And the reason being is that the white minority is ignored totally when it comes to squatter camps, poverty, etc. You must remember that reverse racism, in the sense of BEE, Black Economic Empowerment, and so forth, have stopped the white people from actually achieving anything. I'm talking here about the middle class to lower income groups of white people that is now without work because of COVID, etc., 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 the reverse racism, and so forth. But if we look at the sheer amount of people, and no census has been done about it, but we work with it on a daily basis. So in other words, what we find is that during 2019, as Leonie mentioned earlier, we had about 800,000 people living in these squatter camps across South Africa.
These are white
At the
people.
moment, white people, yes.
These are just
And
so
at
the
the moment-
audience understands. We're talking nearly 1 million white people now living in squatter camps of a population of 4.5 million in South Africa.
No. The white population in South Africa is closer to 3.8 because of the diaspora people leaving,
Wow.
and also a lot more. Yeah, about 3.8 million people. Now, if you look at 3.8 million people, 800,000, or hypothetically speaking, but it's close to 1 million of those people as people with businesses, people that has a high income, a middle class to high income, that can actually pack up and go whenever they want to go. And they actually, most of them would be people from other countries that invested big money into South Africa and is trying to make it work, etc., etc. Now, that already leaves us there with 3 million people in the country. Of that 3 million people, 1.2 million of those white people are living in squatter camps or in the street as such.
Sure.
That is conservatively calculated. Conservatively calculated. So if you take 1.2 million off that, you're going to sit with another 1.8 million people that we don't know about. It's a gray area. We don't know. And not all of those people that is actually living below the poverty line actually manifested, because there's a lot of pride in our people.
Yes.
And when the people become poor like they are, and they would go and live with family or live in a garage of family, etc., etc., they try to keep it under wraps because of the pride. But eventually, the decline of the people becomes so much that they leave and end up in the streets or in the squatter camps. All right. the decline of the people becomes so much that the children of those people do not go to school. They're not educated. We're actually sitting with a second generation people that are living in the streets or living in the squatter camps that have got children that is between the ages of 8 and 18. That's living there with them, that's not going to school, that's got no education at all.
Wow.
Some of those people are trying homeschooling. But the decline of the people is such that you must remember, all hope is lost. And hope is the only thing that's stronger than fear. That hope is gone. The people don't care anymore. The decline of the parents is so much that, sad to say, that most of those parents, you would not be able to re-educate or rehome them.
They're a
as
lost,
such.
they're a
But-
lost nation.
Yes.
Exactly. We can still do it with the children. This brings me back to exactly what happened during the Anglo-Boer War. If I just may go back to that part there.
Yeah.
It's a systematic annihilation of 2/3 of a people that is unwanted.
You know,
Yes.
That is
the
genocide.
incredible irony to me is that in 1994, the white population basically handed over South Africa to the ANC. And
Yes.
that was on the basis of a rainbow nation where all people would be treated equally. And what the ANC have done is they've brought in their own national democratic revolution, which is the South African Communist Party mantra, which is where Ramaphosa comes from. He's actually from the South African Communist Party. And under him, they're actually fast-tracking the genocide of the white population in South Africa. There's absolutely
Correct.
no question in my mind about that. And I would draw your attention to a comment that Ramaphosa made in March last year or April last year, just after the lockdown. And he said about the economy, he said, oh, the economy is going to be fantastic because the lockdown is going to speed up black economic transformation. And back at that time, I said that what he's actually saying is that small white businesses are going to go bankrupt and they're going to be bought up for pennies on the dollar by the black ANC cadres. And that's exactly what is going on now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's exactly happened. During the lockdown last year, Leonie and myself, just to give you an example, the decline was immediate. You must remember, during the lockdown, when that lockdown started, the ignorance towards the white populace of this country, or the poor white populace of this country, was so intense that within the first 2 weeks of that lockdown, and Leonie can tell me if we're wrong, because we did that. We spoke about it. We started putting people in place in every town that we could muster. People are willing to actually take charge and help us to feed these people to keep it going. Because the minority white people in the country were ignored by means of food parcels given out by the government, by whoever gave the food parcels out. We had to smuggle milk during lockdown in curfew to feed our people. We had to smuggle food. We were stocking food in our vehicles where the government, the police said to us, we're going to confiscate this food. And several people had their food confiscated. Where white people were living in a squatter camp, they went and stand in line to get food where other people, black people from the same area in squatter camps came to get food. The white people were shifted one side and was not giving one iota of food. And if they did get food, the blacks would go into the house and take that food out. And we've got proof of that, Leonie. You remember
Yes.
what happened?
I remember.
There was a big outcry. We made a big thing about it. Where the police would actually, or the blacks would actually go into the house, police or blacks, doesn't matter who it was. They did it. The police also did it. We've got proof of that. And taken the food from the white people and said, you're not entitled to get this. This is for our people. And they would take it out and give it to someone else.
This sounds more like Nazi Germany.
It's worse. It's worse.
It's worse. It's worse.
Africa became the biggest concentration camp for white people in the world today, and we are ignored because of BLM, which is the black flavor of the day. Our plight to survival has no flavor. Therefore, we are ignored. And I'm talking about America. I'm talking about France. I'm talking about Australia. I'm talking about England. I'm talking about all the big people in the world. China don't care. China just wants to break this country.
Yeah.
Okay. But everybody ignores us. And that is the reason this became worse than we would say Nazi Germany.
Right.
Yeah,
At the
that's
moment.
true.
Now, Leonie, you've been sitting in the background for a bit. You've got an organization that you set up called Vrouwenkrag. Can you tell
Yes.
me what inspired you to set up Vrouwenkrag?
All these things that's happening now. Scotty, I have a passion for a lot of things in my life, and I like to do properly. For argument's sake, I've got an anti-human trafficking group. I've got victims for vaccines group. Then I've got this Love and Hope group. And I also got Social Communist group. To tell you just something about the Social Communist group. A few years ago, nobody dared to speak about communism. Nothing.
Right.
It was dead quiet. Then I started to open the Social Communist group to make people aware what communism is all about. Then gradually the people started to open up. And that is the reason why people are more awake today about communism than ever before. Then with the anti-human trafficking group, this was very close to my heart, and I know you had the live stream with Tracy now the other day, and that lady is very passive about that subject, and we're all working together to see what we can do to help those people. Love in life is one of the main points, very close to my heart because of what happened last year in February month, and before that, prior to that. And then I started to say to myself earlier this year, that was January this year, and I paged through FB, and I'd see this person give this comment and that person give that comment. And I said to myself, now, all that contact me and says to me, Leonie, what are we going to do about this? Where are we moving to? What are we going to do? And I thought to myself, no ways, this is not going to work. I'm very sorry. I've got to do something because everybody is talking, nobody is doing anything. So somewhere I've got to take the lead. And I started to say to myself, no ways, I'm going to take the lead on this. And then I started Vrouwenkrag. And I discussed it with quite a number of, and Tracy, Bianca, Amanda, the two Amanda that I've got, the one is for the NPO, the owner of the NPO. I'm a director of the NPO. And Amanda Delport, she's doing the business plan for me under Love and Hope. Our reason for that is that we want to uplift the people. We don't want to give to people because there's too many people out there, individuals that just give. And that is the wrong thing that we must do. We must stop giving and uplift these people. So we decided, we all decided we're going to develop a property, but we've got to go and get this property. So we discussed it with the other group leaders, and they came back to me and they said to me, no, that's fine, we can give you property. We can give you actually farms to develop. We can go and discuss it with the farmers, which we got. And then we started with the whole thing. And we decided we're going to pull in all professional people as much as possible, and we're going to start to do this now. And we're at the point now that we have our business plan ready, and we've got the property, we've got housing, we've got everything ready, and it's just a matter of time then we can start. We do need funds, of course. we don't need funds for development in any case, but we've got volunteer people that can work, and they're really prepared to put everything out there to make this a success.
Right. Now,
That's
look,
how we started on this.
okay, you've just got such a lot of synergy with one of the people that I know well.
Yeah.
He's trying to build up the Folks. Have you heard of the Volkshuis, the community?
Yeah.
And he's got a
What
project.
place?
He's Volkshuis.
Folks house, no.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
his name is Gerben, and I'm not going to say anything more because we're on a public platform. But
Yeah.
I think that your organization, Vrouwenkracht, and his organization could have a huge amount of synergy. Because yeah, what I'll do is after the live stream, I will through Marlena put you both in touch, because I think that would be
Lovely.
a really
Thank
really
you.
good match.
Yes, thank
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
okay.
but our intention is to bring all these people in under Vrouwenkracht, but they can still be independent, do what they have to do,
Yeah.
or what they want to do, as long as we get all together and work together on this development. That's fine to me. I would love that to happen.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll definitely put you in touch with each other and see where it goes. Now,
Thank you.
I guess the thing that I am seeing, look, I've been covering South Africa now for well over 2 years on a daily basis with the news, and I have live streams every day, and on a range of topics. And what has become so clear to me is that one of the great tragedies unfolding in South Africa is the drug abuse that is going on, and you can understand why people who are destitute, they're sitting outside their little shack in a squatter camp, why they just feel totally deflated. They're obviously in a very, very bad space, and they turn to drugs. Now, I'm not even going to ask you if it's a problem in the camps, because I know it is. But the step down from that is the one that really horrifies me. And this is actually happening in South African white squatter camps right now. And that is young mothers selling their children. Do you hear about that, Jurgens? Sorry, Dave?
Yeah, look, there's several cases that we heard of. Not much, but it's not a trend at the moment, but it's happened. We know of a couple of cases that mothers have actually given up their children to get drugs. Mothers letting the children getting abused for drugs. And unfortunately, that is with the decline of our people that we're sitting with today. And that is what we have to stop. Myself with Leonie, we've been working together for the past year, trying to look after people and so forth. I've only just recently got involved with Leonie again when I was asked on Pro Parate, which I'm very happy to do, Leonie, by the way. But what I say is that we mustn't forget that our vision is one of upliftment and not charity. Where we come to the children that's being sold for drugs or children that's been given away, we need to have things in place to have those children looked after. We must remember, and as I said earlier, we have this generation gap of uneducated teens and children out there at the moment. That is a gap that's gone. But we need to take the younger ones and start educating them. If the mothers can't look after them, we need to have something in place where we can place those children. And I'm not talking about a children's home. I'm talking about upliftment programs where we can get these children in, teach them, school them, teach them the values of life again, teach them our culture, our values, and what life's about, the good in life, not what they experience, because that's their normal. It's not our normal. It's their normal.
Yeah.
They grow up. They think, oh, it's okay to be like that. It's okay to be abused. It's okay to use drugs. It's okay because that's their normal. That's what they grow up with.
Yeah.
You need to get them out of that, the mindset right, put the mind in the right direction. And we need to start with the children. We cannot do it with the adults that has already been there. We can try and uplift. We can try and help. But the children are the ones at this stage, which is the future. We cannot afford to have another generation of uneducated, which means 20 years. We can't do that. Then this people of ours will be dead. It'll be non-existent.
You know what I
But
find?
another,
Yeah, please go ahead,
it's-
Leonie.
sorry to interrupt you there, Scotty. It's all because of the social infrastructure that collapsed in South Africa.
Exactly.
And it totally collapsed.
Yeah.
And the ignoring of the minority white
Yeah.
populace in this country. Leonie, you're 100% right. Because they would use that infrastructure of welfare, as they call it, and only look at their type or their kind.
Yes.
And I'm not being racist when I say this. There's an Afrikaans word that says ras eg, which means is I look after my own. I can respect that they want to look after their own, but the point I want to make here is if you want to look after your own, allow us to look after our own.
But that's exactly what they are doing. That's exactly what they're doing, Dave.
But
I remember at one stage. I remember at one stage.
Carry on, Leonie.
I remember at one stage that we wanted to go and give donations at the squatter camps, and that they refused us to let us go in. No donations to white people in the squatter camps.
Wow.
And that is wrong.
No,
And remember, Leonie, when it said that it's got to go to a central point to be distributed from there.
Yes. Yeah. I heard about that. Now, guys, I just want to go back to a comment you made, Dave. And that is, you said that what is happening today in South Africa in these squatter camps is worse than what happened with the concentration camps in 1902 with the women and children. It's worse. Now, that to me is absolutely chilling. What we need is really an Emily Hobhouse who can somehow get international attention to what's going on in South Africa, because I think that's the problem, is that the mainstream media, they've got their own agenda, and as you said correctly, the only thing that matters right now is Black Lives Matter, and it doesn't matter what happens to the white population in South Africa, which brings me to a very, very important point. And that is that the ANC government don't support you or your organization with 1 red cent. We know that because we talk to a lot of organizations like yours. But then you got people like Johan Rupert, Nikki Oppenheimer, a lot of very wealthy people who don't put their hands in their pockets to help their own people. What do you think about that? And I'll put this first to you, Dave.
Okay. The Ruperts and all the rich people in this country has got one agenda, is to keep the ones that they can control in power so that they can make even more money. You must remember at this stage, the ANC is controlled by money because of their greed and because of their corruption. And I say it out straight, and I'm not scared to propagate that on the street corners, wide for the whole world to listen to. But the Ruperts and all the other rich people in this country, the Oppenheimers, etc., need to keep the government happy to keep their wealth.
Yes.
And as we said, BLM is the flavor of the day. We are nothing. And if that pendulum should shift, their attentions would shift towards us to keep us happy, to keep their wealth. Unfortunately, that's how it works in the system outside. And we're not going to get past that. They might, for every now and then, through a third party, donate something just to keep a bit of face. But we all know what the truth is. And unfortunately, money controls this country through corruption.
Yeah, but they could still donate money to charities like yours, couldn't they?
No, but they won't, because if they do that, then the government would frown upon it. You must remember one thing. Cyril Ramaphosa's statement during the lockdown in South Africa is to expedite the appropriation without compensation and take everything and boost the black economic empowerment to such an extent that the blacks rule everything in this country and the whites would stand on three corners begging. That is the whole purpose of this. You must remember Cyril Ramaphosa during the armed struggle, or just after CODESA started, made a statement to say that we will boil them like frogs in a pot of water. And before they know it, they will be fried in that same pot because it's nice and warm. It's systematic.
Now,
20 years later, we're experiencing that same thing now.
Yeah.
For a lot of the frogs, it's too late to jump out of that pot. But there are those of us that still try. And the only way we can get past that is to get you guys involved, the media involved, and the big money involved. That is actually just going after the flavor of the day, which is Black Lives Matter only. And at this stage, I can tell you this much: they're not going to move one iota towards us in helping our people. We're going to have to help ourselves.
Correct.
And if I may, Scott, Leonie, and I know this might be out of context, but I think, in my opinion, that a lot of the people in our situation, in our country, our people, are starting to barter with each other, starting to economize with each other. We should actually close our economy down, our white economy down, and just deal with white people for now. Till we bring them on and say to them, now you will listen to us. We are part and parcel of this country.
well, don't you
Anyway,
think? Don't you think that another option is what a lot of people are trying to get happening politically, and that's the Western Cape seceding and setting up a completely independent state, which is run with the traditional Western values, not with the total lack of moral compass under this gangster ANC government.
They will never relinquish the land and the power they have. And the reason why I say this, during the apartheid years, we had the homelands, which was Bophuthatswana, Venda, Ciskei, Transkei, which was governed by themselves. And you must remember, they weren't governed by South Africa, they were governed by themselves.
Yeah.
And South Africa had no input to say in what went on onto that governance. When the Western, should the Western Cape, with the Cape Party, secede and they can get it right, the economy of this country will immediately implode, and South Africa will be bankrupt within a week.
Yes.
Leonie, is there something you'd like to add in this discussion we're having at the moment?
We try, and the Vrouwenkrag, we do try to get unity amongst not only the right-wing people, but also the left-wing people. And I managed to do that now, to draw them all in under one group, and for us to make a decision what we're going to do with the ANC, for us to go forward and to do what we have to do with the ANC. For argument's sake, let's say we all get together and we discuss a point and say, okay, we've got to take this point forward to keep the ANC accountable for what's going on. And I think on that point, we can do that, and we can get the ANC out on that point.
Well, I think the ANC are a spent force. I think they're going to fracture so badly that they're going to destroy themselves. And in fact,
they're busy doing it at the present moment, Scott.
Yeah.
But I think we must all get together. As long as we don't stand together, they will have the benefit of the doubt. We've got to come together. We've got to get together and make a stand and come to a point where we say enough is enough. We're going to take it forward and keep the government responsible for what is going to happen, or for what is happening in South Africa at the present moment. That's the only way forward for our whites. We can't sit still anymore. We've got to do it.
Well, I wonder where the man in the brown suit that Sina van Rensburg talks about is, because this is his time, isn't it? If you had one person who just stood out and unified the white population, that's what's lacking right now, isn't it?
Yeah, that is my aim, and that's what I'm going to do. Definitely, I'm going to do it. Within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do that. Because I notice, and I've got the left side on my side as well, and they are prepared to move over to the right side now and working with us on that. And that is the first for us in South Africa.
Well, it makes absolute sense. If the government aren't looking after a certain portion of the population, the white minority, then that white minority has got to look after themselves. I mean, it's
Yes.
not rocket science. So it's not racist. It's because
Exactly.
the only thing that's racist is the ANC government.
Yes, I agree with you.
So if we look at what's happening in South Africa, and we actually go back to the erstwhile Yugoslavian Republic, we can see that with the dissent and the oppression that went on there, that the actual war broke out between, we understand the Serbs, the Serbs and the Albanians, and which led to Yugoslavia, the demise of Yugoslavia, and ultimately ended up in all those small countries regaining their independence, like Montenegro, Croatia, Serbia, all those small countries, Albania, all those small countries around the Yugoslavia, all regaining their own independence. And at the rate that we are going now, that's exactly what's going to happen here. And I'm not a seer, and I'm not one that sits around waiting for the person in the brown suit to make an appearance. We have to diligently work on a daily basis to bring out the word to the world outside and say, listen, we are in dire need of support, vocal support, financial support, and military support. And the reason why we say is that there's an extermination taking place of the white people. It's an economic genocide happening. People cannot get work. People have to fend for themselves. They get taken out of work. It's an economic genocide happening, which leads to physical genocide, which I would take it upon myself to say that we have entered stage 6 of that genocide. Polarization is done through BEE, through
Agree.
maximizing the effort to get the white populace to stand one side. Polarization is done. Extermination follows. That is what's happening at the moment. You must remember one thing. We have a court case going on now where two black brothers got into an argument. The farmers intervened. They attacked the one farmer.
We're talking about Piet Retief.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And now what happens is, now the case of assault against the white farmer goes away, and it becomes a murder case against the white farmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You understand? So nothing we do stand up in our court system. We've had a look at the Buramach trial. We've had a look at all the trials that these people and the white people had, the so-called coffin trials that it was. And it's victimization of people to make an example of people, to polarize and oppress further.
Yes.
And that is what's happening on a daily basis. If you walk into a police station to lay a charge or anything on that, or you will bring out to say there's people in dire need there, you are told that it's not their problem.
Well, can I just add to what you're talking about here, Dave? And that is that when we talk about Piet Retief, the public prosecutor who is actually representing the state in Piet Retief is the same public prosecutor who represented the state in the coffin case. And we know how the facts were completely fabricated. And the same thing has happened now in Piet Retief. And look what's happening. You've got the riots in Piet Retief, which have been pushed by the ANC themselves. You know, this is absolutely, this is the government being involved in a genocide against the minority white population. This is not the 6th stage, Dave. This is 8th stage. 9th stage is when it actually happens. 10th stage is when they look back and they say, oh, how did that happen? You take the Armenians, 115 years ago, completely wiped out. No one ever recognized that there was a genocide until just a week ago, when Biden said that was a genocide of the Armenian people. How can it take 115 years for that to be recognized? And right now, what's happening in South Africa is being ignored. Back to you, Dave.
Okay, let me put it to you this way. You must remember one thing. A black man gets killed in America, a crook or whatever they called it. I don't know the whole history about it. All I know is the history of the guy that got killed sparked a worldwide movement. that killed a lot
George
of white
Floyd.
people.
George
Exactly.
Floyd. Yeah.
Yes. And I
And-
don't want to mention the name because, I mean, Mr. Biden hates us with a passion anyway. But anyway, to get back to that is, that sparked the whole worldwide movement. One guy got shot by a policeman. He died. A worldwide movement starts on Black Lives Matter. And all of a sudden, everybody ignores what's happening in South Africa, where farm murders occurs on a weekly and a daily basis. Farm attacks. People being attacked on a daily basis, killed,
Yes.
but there's no outcry. There is no movement started for it. That leads me to believe, and I want to put it out there for those people in the world outside listening, you are just as guilty, ignoring that fact of the murder of our people in this country, economic murder, and the physical murder of our farmers. You're just as guilty as those perpetrating that act.
Agree with you.
Leonie, is there something you'd like to add?
No, I totally agree with Dave there. We get a lot of people that just keep quiet about it, or they are keyboard warriors. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Instead of supporting us all the way, they don't support us. When you ask for support, and when the time comes for support, there's only 3 or 4 that pitch up. What is wrong with our people? Can't they stand together? For once, can't they see that things are going wrong in this country?
No,
Stand together, white people. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. No,
Enough is enough.
I have to say that the problem that channels or alternative media like mine has and faces is the absolute extreme censorship that goes on with these big tech platforms like YouTube, Google, Twitter, Facebook. You've probably heard of friends who've had Facebook pages taken down because they offended some snowflake in America. Now I had
on a regular basis.
hang on, let me tell you, Dave. I had 3 big YouTube channels on YouTube. I've actually now set up my own platform called lovinglifetv.com, which is where we're moving to. We're transitioning out of YouTube, not because we want to, but because we have to. 2 of my big channels have been taken down overnight. I got up in the morning and they were gone because I offended some snowflake somewhere. And I've got to be so careful what I say on YouTube because they have that power. They don't care that you've got 1 million followers. Take Donald Trump on Twitter. He had 80 million followers and they took him down like that. You know, that sort of power is obscene. And there's a group there's a group in America called Project Veritas, which is exposing the media in the US, and they're doing a fantastic job. They're exposing CNN as fake news, New York Times as fake news, the Washington Post as fake news, and I can go on and on and on. But the whole media today is, and this is our problem when we talk about the white squatter camps, is because the media, even in South Africa, has their instructions not to touch the subject, regardless of what happens.
Exactly. And you know what? If it keeps quiet any longer, if it's kept under wraps any longer, we're not going to sit with 1.2 million people, white people destitute in this country. We're going to sit closer to 2.4 million people, which is the whole white populace at that stage, because the money powers would have taken the money and run it. Again, the problem that we have, and I can foresee in this country, is when the wrong person at the right time says, I've had enough. And that is coming. And I don't know who that person is going to be. And I just hope that the day this happens, that the government cannot turn around and say, we did not see this coming. And I'm not warning them about it. It's a fact. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Continued. Because you can hear the murmurs in the passages. There's murmurs in the passages. There's people talking of how it was, what we had. The children asking their fathers, but you guys had it like that. Why can't we have it? We have to come into our houses at night. And I feel sorry for the people in squatter camps because they do not have that facility. We lock our safety gates. We put on our alarms, our perimeter alarms. We take out our guns. We're at the ready for anything that happens. Is that life? Is that freedom? No. I'm sorry.
We've got to claim our freedom back. Honestly, we have to.
Well, this is why I mentioned secession in the Western Cape. But getting back to that point, Dave, look, the point is that the South African police service today is so corrupted. It is so. I mean, there's still some good police around, but there are not many of them. And a lot of these police now involved in crime syndicates. They're actually part of the problem, and that makes the South African police service ineffective. Okay, so they're not doing their job. If you have an assault in your home and you call the police, they don't come. And you go to the police station and they ignore you because you're white. Now, the same applies with the army. The army is completely defunct in South Africa today. And when you think about it, this country is ripe for the picking. It's just a question as to who is going to pick it.
Yes.
We know we know at the moment who's in the forefront of picking it.
China.
See the money that streams in, and we can see the fishing of our waters. You understand? So we know who's aiming big time for that. And why it's allowed, I cannot tell you, by the big powers, because we're not involved in that. We are Boers. We don't partake in politics. It's just we partake in to see our people free. And it's not going to happen through politics. I am sorry. Politics will never Politics will never uplift our people. It's not going to happen via politics. It's going to happen only by our people standing up, finding our voices, finding our actions, and saying enough is enough.
You know what I'm surprised at, Dave, is the fact that the Christian leaders in this country, you know, I'm talking about the leadership of the Christian church in South Africa, haven't basically formed an organization where they're saying, this is enough. You know, we have to, as a Christian society, we have to do something and then let that just unfold.
Yeah, I answer that question.
Well, I know the South African Council of Churches is completely corrupted, but anyway, carry on.
Can I answer that question for you? Sorry, Leonie, I'm talking too much.
No, you can carry on.
I want to answer that question to you and say that if you want to make money, you start a church or a religion. That's all I want.
Yeah. But I'm talking about the legacy church, you know, the Protestant. Look, I know some church leaders and they are very, very devoted and, you know, they're not in it for the money, if I can put it that way. But I hear what you're saying.
You must understand that the churches in South Africa has been politicized and they partook in the politics in pacifying our people into giving up. And that is a fact. Not all churches. As I said to you,
they're not playing their role then.
No, they're not at all. There is very good church leaders out there still. There are still very good policemen out there, but they're in such a minority that it's not going to make a difference.
Definitely, it's not going to make a difference there.
So what is the solution for these people who are stuck in squatter camps and they've got absolutely no chance of getting work because of BEE?
Well, Sorry, Dave.
Carry on, Leonie.
The only way to help them is to uplift them, do development, uplift them, bring in the complete social structure back to them, and teach them and bring businesses back to them, and keep the economy of the white people amongst them only. That's the only way we can do this.
Yeah, well, I just want to mention that the ANC government, I mean, these guys are genius. They brought in 64 Cubans this week to go engineers to sort out the water problems in South Africa. Now they've got thousands of white engineers who could have done that job much
Yes.
better. They know the country, but they
Yes.
totally ignored them. Now
Yes.
explain that logic to me, Dave.
You can't. You can't.
Okay, let me-
I'm sorry, I can't.
Let me explain something to you quickly. Those Cuban engineers were brought in, I think, is to take all the water out of the potholes that exist in every bloody street in this country. But look, South African engineers pro-apartheid, before the change in '94 came, were the best engineers.
In the
I
world.
reckon as some of the best engineers in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the infrastructure that they had to build with what they had. You must remember we had sanctions against us, and we were still tops. We were one of the countries that was regarded as the best in the world for engineering,
Chris
design,
Barnard.
engineering. Exactly.
The matter of fact, on all levels. On
Yeah,
all levels.
we are people that's ingenious. We can make things work only if we allow it. You understand?
Well, you know, there's a very interesting point you've just raised in that very thought, Dave, and I just want to add to it, and that is that what the white population did, whether the rest of the world likes it or not, is they brought the black population out of living in huts and herding cattle.
Yes.
That's what the
Yes.
white
Yes.
population did, and that has been
Yes.
completely overlooked. It's as if the white population actually held the black population down and didn't allow them to have a future. It was a white population who gave them a future. Even during the apartheid
agree.
days, the African population got a free education.
Oh, yes.
That's true.
Well, they don't have it anymore. You know, they don't have an education; they have a joke.
Yeah, and now they're blaming it still on apartheid. They're
Yeah.
blaming it on the white
Yeah.
people. We are responsible, apparently, for their demise because they got to pay for education now.
Yeah.
The roads are buggered. Blame it on apartheid. Come on, you understand? Every person with half a brain cell that can think can see that the ANC is a corrupt bunch of gravy train sucking
Self-serving.
Yeah, and I'm very outspoken against them. I don't care. That's who I am, and I feel for my people. And unfortunately for them, there are people like us that will still keep the hope in our people alive. We'll try and keep the hope that our people alive for a better future in this country, for a better future for our children. We know that there's a generation that we cannot help because they have been into that rut and you cannot get them out of it. You can try and help them on other means, but it's the generation after that we got to look at. Those are the guys that we got to educate, the kids. We got to educate the youngsters to become more hopeful, to become more educated, engineering, all through the fields of all aspects of this life. We got to re-educate our people. You must
And if we
remember,
don't start now, we will lose everything and
in
everyone.
3 years from now, my prediction is that it will be too late.
Too late.
It'll be
Definitely.
too late.
Yes.
We got to do it now.
Wow.
Now, definitely.
Now, just talking about that, Leonie, you have a business plan, don't you, for the white squatter camps? Do you want to, or I don't know which one, whether it's Dave or Leonie, but would one of you like to talk about that business plan?
Well-
Leonie will talk because she's the expert.
Well, I'm not that expert. What we've done is, as I said before, is we approached the farmers and asked them for property or land to erect these containers on the property. But we don't want to develop another squatter camp on there. We want to build small villages, and with that, everything that goes with that, like the social structures of the camp or the families, we must bring that back. And We've got all over from the Cape to Limpopo, we've got property that we can develop with containers, of course. I don't care if they're going to allow us to build with containers, but that's another story. We can get the people out of the squatter camps that's got the skills to help build these villages. We've got all, as I said, all professional people on board that can help us. And all we need at this present time at moment now is funds to help our people. If we don't get the funds, we will have problems. But we did go to businesses that are prepared to help us. But even though those businesses that can help us, it's so far and few in between, because all these businesses, 51% own black owners now, and they won't give us anything. So we've got very little businesses people that can help us, and we do need funds for this development ASAP.
Right. Now, there's a guy I'm talking to on the 8th of May.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Michael Tellinger. Have you heard of Michael Tellinger?
No, I haven't.
Okay, he's actually successfully working with a couple of towns now in Mpumalanga. And it's called the Our Town concept, where the towns are actually now working as a community, and they're basically reclaiming their towns. Now, again, if you're interested, I could get Michael to give you a call.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Then there's another thing, and as Dave mentioned previously, no political party will ever do something for us. They just promise of the promise of the promise, and it's each fourth year or fifth year, it's the same story over and over and over again. So we have decided that we're going to pull in all those people that you're talking about. We're going to pull them in. We're going to work together with them to develop these places.
Fantastic.
And it's a good thing. Thank you very much for that contact. I really appreciate that.
Right. Now, okay, so we've talked about the business plan side. What about the development? I guess the development is what you're talking about here, which is like reclaiming the towns.
Yeah, we've got 4 towns that we can develop next to the towns to get our demographic up, to say we are more white than, okay, I'm not supposed to say this, but we are more than the others, all right? And then we can, at that point, we can take over the towns, the small towns, and then we can carry on from there onwards. And that's the only way we can develop the towns.
You know, I have to tell you, Leonie, that I think that the average black person in South Africa, or I'd say 90% of the black population in South Africa, are really good people. I think the trouble is you've got this 10% which are basically running the country, who are just corrupted right through. It's like a rotten apple. And the way that if you look at Orania, I mean, that is a poster child of what a community can do when they've got a common vision and they work together.
Yeah,
it really is. And with these little towns, if once again, basically the way of actually selecting people would be just getting rid of the trash and just working with people who are happy to work within the framework of how that community feels and believes.
I agree with you. But to get the geographic up of the white people, we've got to replace the people and develop around that town to do that. That's the only way we can do that, to take over these small towns.
One of the most,
and it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy to do that.
Yeah. One of the most beautiful little towns that I've ever been to in South Africa is Victoria West. It is just absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful little town. Okay, now, Dave, is there something you'd like to add to this discussion that we're talking about now?
Look, the question remains, are we heard? Are are we going to get some form of help one time or the other? We understand, and as I said to you, we're not the flavor of the day. So we understand that at this moment it's going to be very difficult, but individuals and countries can actually speak up. I am involved, not in the political arena, but by friended a lot of people from outside the country that is involved in the ambassadorial area or the areas of people said, like what's the other word? It's not embassies, just below the embassies. Anyway, I've befriended some of those people, and they understand the political connotation against us. And some of them, the words that they use is that we cannot do anything about it because it's a political move that our country will not allow. And it comes down to the flavor of the day. Now, the question remains is, must another 1.2 million people of ours die before anything is done or before anything is said about this country, about our people in squatter camps living in absolute downtrodden filth in some cases, about people roaming the streets without hope, where the children sit with their fathers on street corners. I'm in Durban, in South Africa, and I see it on a daily basis. Children on the street corners sitting with their fathers begging.
Yeah.
Those children should be in school. They should be uplifted. How many of those people must still die before we are heard? Or is it going to take a war to rectify it?
Yeah.
That's the question I'm asking. The latter I do not want. We've been involved in Angola. We've been involved in some other places in the world as private contractors. We do not want this anymore.
Well, you know what I think, Dave? I
Yeah.
think the simple answer, short-term answer, is to get people who can take short videos or videos of what is actually going on in white squatter camps. And, we could certainly put those out on our platform because we have a global audience. And that would, I know YouTube might not like it, but we'll put it on our lovinglifetv.com channel, which means that YouTube have got no control over that particular platform. It's our platform, it's our website, so we can put up whatever we like there. They can't take it down. But if you were to get a couple of members of your organization to go into these camps, interview people, show people what's actually happening in those camps, I would very happily put those videos up and put them up to the world, and that way we could alert the world to what's happening. Stuff the mainstream media.
That'll be highly appreciated. Thank you very much for that. Incidentally, we've spoken to the Right Perspective about a year ago, I think it was. I've spoken to some other platforms that we've made the same suggestions. And look, we can put as many videos as we can. And the Bismarcking is the Afrikaans word. It's to bring the message out to the world.
Yeah.
Say, this is us. This is what's happening to us. We cannot do this alone. You're going to have to help us. And if we're not going to get that help soon, we will have to help ourselves.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll be doing, Dave. I've got lots of video footage of what happened in the concentration camps in 1902, okay, during the Boer War. I will be comparing that to what's going on in South Africa today to the white population, and with a good dose of Emily Hobhouse in there as well. Because, when they talk about Emily Hobhouse, she is revered by the world for what she did in exposing what went on in the concentration camps. And I think by bringing the two together and say, hey, this is happening in our lifetime, the media are not telling you about it, and then having those videos that you produce or you send me, and we incorporate into that the concentration camps of South Africa, and Emily Hobhouse. I think that's going to put a whole new slant on the whole thing.
Thank you very much.
Oh.
That'll help.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate it, Scotty.
Okay, well, look, I'll leave you guys to get those videos to me, and we'll certainly work on that. Now,
Okay.
Leonie, getting back to you again, strategy. What is the strategy? Now, you've talked about these little towns that you're going to set up and that sort of stuff. How far down the track are you in actually doing that? You said money's an issue, isn't it?
Well, Scotty, to tell the honest truth, we have a lot of success already. As I said to you, we've got everything in place. Everything that we need is in place. And that is a great success already. The only thing we do read is to tell the honest truth, is just money. And to go forward. But even without that, we can get some funds for transport, to transport all these containers to these farms and start to do it all by ourselves. But that's not sustainable. We've got to keep it all sustainable. That's the point. And if we don't do that, then the project won't last and it won't work.
Right.
You know, we've got to, the milestones that we have is we had unity amongst our various leaders and successful live streaming as we had with you now and others as well. And we obtaining the property for the development. There's professionals and skilled people and entrepreneurs and staff. There's a food chain business participating at the present moment. There's housing availability. And we've got now our business plan. Okay, that's fine. We've got to work according to the business plan. Otherwise, it will never, ever, ever succeed. We've got website expansions that we've got to do. We've got the NPO. We work under the NPO. And then we've got professionals that assured us that we can have a reversal of the vaccine, of the side effects. So and we've got voluntary professionals and leaders in specific fields. So this is fantastic. We've got a lot in our favor.
Yeah.
We must just carry on and do what we said we're going to do. And stand up and do it. And we're going to do it. That is our motto for Vrouwekrag. And we're going to put it through.
Right.
No matter what.
Well, I'm a doer as well. And I just want to add to what we just discussed, which was about sending me videos of what's actually going on in the squatter camps. And, you know, they can be brutally honest. And what I would like to suggest is that we have a weekly video that I put up on Loving Life, which I will call the concentration camps of South Africa in the 2020s. And then we'll merge that with, as I say, Emily Hobhouse and what happened, and we'll just put that message out weekly. But then to actually do that, I need from your side the videos, and probably about 10 to 15 minutes of video, which sort of demonstrates, and little interviews with people and how they feel and stuff like that. And touching on issues like suicides, because suicides are huge in these squatter camps because people just give up. And the drug issues, people who are destitute, who just, you know, they've got nowhere to go, so they turn to drugs. People need to know what's happening.
Yes, we've got to do awareness. Definitely, we have to do that.
Okay, well, look, I'll leave that in. I'll leave it in Dave's hands because I know you're really busy, Leonie. I'm sure Dave will have some contacts. You can get them to email me.
He's just as busy, believe you me. We're all busy. Once you start with this thing, there's no end, no return.
Yeah. But you have people on the ground that you can, you know, actually go into the squatter camps
Yes,
who can do this sort of work?
Yes, we have.
Okay, well,
Yes,
that's the sort of people who can do the legwork. And
Yes.
probably send the videos to Marlena first, and Marlena can then send them to me via WhatsApp.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, fantastic. All right.
Yes.
I think we've pretty well covered everything, now we know that there's a huge calamity happening in the squatter camps, and we know that the media are just refusing to touch the subject. Is there anything else that you think can be done, Dave?
At this stage, no. You know what? As I said to you, we walk into a brick wall when it comes to government interference into the white squatter camps, because they do not want to get involved. You must remember one thing. This year there is, again, the local elections taking place. And if they're going to do something like that on an open basis, trying to support white people as such, it'll cost them votes. I don't think they will make it this time around, the ANC, but when the ANC loses, another one will take over, and the corruption, etc., will just carry on. But what I'm saying is, to answer your question, is there anything else we can do at this moment? Is no. Our hands are tied at what we are able to do for now, but we need help. And I'm serious. We need help. You know of Dirk Papieren and what they're doing at Philadelphia Arc, and there's a lot of these places that can go up, little towns that can go up.
Yeah.
As Leonie said, it's a great idea. It's a good idea. It's a noble idea. But we need help to get that done.
Yeah.
And we need the help now. In 3 years, we might as well give up.
Yeah. Well,
Because then it's over.
I think the short-term strategy then is to get these videos out there so the world can see what's happening. Because once they're alerted to the fact, what we'd do is we would have Vroue Krag bank account and website and stuff like that under all these videos, so that people who want to, they can start participating and putting funds into the thing.
Thank you very much, Scotty. Yes, we've got everything in place, and it can be done. Definitely can be.
Okay. Well, I'll leave that ball in your court. I just see, I don't think there are any questions in the side chat. We have about 350 people watching, or we had just a short while ago. So we got a good audience here tonight, and they're from all over the world. Now, I'm going to wrap up this live stream now and just ask each of you to just speak to people who are watching the video now or who might watch it later, and just express your thoughts and any comments you'd like to make regarding this project involving the white squatter camps. I'll start off with Dave. Dave?
Imagine your family closest to you. Have a look to your left, have a look to your right. Imagine your family ending up where these people are at this stage. Imagine your daughter having to sell herself to survive. Imagine your husband have to take drugs to survive, to get that aura of no worth out of his system by using drugs to make him feel a bit better. Imagine losing those children to death, to rape, to murder on a daily basis. Then you can get an inkling of a feeling of what these people and our people are going through. Imagine. Then get off your butt, put your hand in, and help us. Thank you.
Right. Leonie?
Thank you. Thank you, Dave. I want to ask all the people in South Africa to please don't look just forward in front of you. Look on your left and look on your right side. Don't turn your face away. Or when I ask something such as, I don't have statistics. There is no statistics or census in South Africa. Please don't just send it to me. Get involved. Come together, stand together and work, because tomorrow it can be you that's in that situation, and we must help you. You must all remember, all of our people that work towards a thing to help our people, it's not young people. It's all old people, because we know and we can see where they're going to. And that's why I ask all these people, every single white one in South Africa, stand together, forget your issues. You might have issues with me, or you might have issues with Dave, or you might have issues with Vroue Krag. Forget about it, because you don't do it for me, Vrouwekrag or Dave or anybody. You do it for those people because tomorrow can be you that's in that very same position.
Yeah, I totally get it. Now, what's your website domain or address, Leonie?
It's omniapparatus.org.
Sorry, what is it?
Omniapparatus,
Could you-
OMNIA.
Yeah,
Apparatus, it's PARATUS.
.org. Okay, I'll just, that's OMNIAPARATUS.org.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I'll just put that in the side chat, and I'll put that down below the video as well in the description. Now, does that include if people want to donate? They can. Is there a donate button there?
Yes, there's a donate button there. There's a PayPal, there's a EFF. There's also a Bitcoin there that you can pay into if you want to. And then there's a Helen, but it all goes through Helen Safe Haven's NPO account.
And Bianca's
Where we've got, I just want to mention this because everybody's going to say something about it. We've got a chartered accountant there, we've got a lawyer there, we've got 5 directors on the board there.
Right.
So it's not a fact that anybody will take anything or steal anything because there's about 5-7 people that's got to give their consent to pay out money or whatever.
Right. Now, I've got an email address here of Vroue-Krach-Bianca@omniapparatus.org. Is that the best one for people to contact you from?
Yes, that is my secretary, to tell you quite honest truth.
Okay.
Lovely lady.
Okay, fantastic. Look, I will just make a note of that and put that in the description below this video as well.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Look, thank you so much, Dave, for joining us, and thank you so much, Leonie, for joining us. And I look forward to chatting to you again. I haven't forgotten. I will speak to, well, I'll get Marlena to speak to Gerben regarding the Volkshuis, and I'll also get Marlena to put Michael Tellinger in touch with you regarding the
Much
the art town.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All righty.
It's got always a pleasure.
Okay, guys, take care. And
Thank you for having us.
I'm
Scott.
sure we'll have you on again in the near future.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You keep well.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Okay, then.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay, guys, that is the state of play with the white squatter camps in South Africa. You can see it's just become like what happened in 1902 in the concentration camps. And as Dave correctly pointed out, South Africa is like a huge concentration camp now for the minority white population. And I say that because even people who are middle class, they've got to have fences around their houses. They have to lock up. They're basically like captives in their own country. It's absolutely disgraceful what's happening. And the huge disgrace is on the mainstream media, who just won't talk about this subject. But thank you for joining us tonight. And once again, thank you to Dave and Leonie for chatting to us about the problem. If you can help, I will put the email address and the website address down below this video in the description. It's also in the side chat. Please contact Bianca. That's Bianca's email address that is in the side chat. And for the moderators, thanks guys for the great job that you do, and looking after the side chat and keep it nice and clean. Have a great evening. Thank you all for joining us, and hope to see you again tomorrow night. We will be having another live stream at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time on another subject. And every night we have different subjects. And finally, guys, I know I'm rambling on a bit here, but finally, please register on lovinglifetv.com. Please, that's where you need to go. That's where we're moving to. We're going to have the biggest source of daily news on the internet on lovinglifetv.com. And that's not just a goal, it's a promise. We're getting there very fast. So if you want to know what's happening in South Africa, whether you be in South Africa or whether you be in America or Australia or Europe, lovinglifetv.com. Please get involved, and also get involved in the forum as well, because there we have a lot of very interesting information that you could not publish on platforms like YouTube because they would just take it down. I'm going to leave it at that. Please remember to just be involved, be part of the Loving Life family. And now what I'm going to do is I'll leave the side chat open for a few minutes so you guys can just say your goodbyes, and I'll see you. Actually, I'm probably going to be speaking to Peter Sito, the black fellow who's fighting for the farmers, tomorrow morning at about 6 a.m. But I'm just going to confirm that tonight. But there's a good chance that'll happen. And as I say, 8 p.m. tomorrow night, we'll have another live stream. Cheers for now.